like to welcome you to our Gallery 360 talk. I'm Wendy with Reaves. I'm one of the curators here at the Portrait Gallery, and part of the team that does these Portraiture Now exhibitions. We have really all enjoyed all the exhibitions we've done in this series, but this one has been a special pleasure for me because I've had the wonderful experience of working with Hong whom I'd like to introduce you to now. Hong was born in China. She started her art education at the Central Academy of Beijing, but in 1996 she came to America and she actually got her MFA at UC Davis. So she's going to tell us a little bit today about that artistic journey that she has made. And I think I'd like to start things off by making a couple of comments. Hong, when I first started seeing in reproduction, I did anticipate the boldness and sort of aesthetic power, but I occasionally would wonder if you were sort of riffing playfully on the American obsession with ideals of female beauty, sort of taking that notion and giving it a good sharp twist. But then you and I have also talked about this installation and how the sort of spiritual quality that it has, and how many of our visitors walk into this area and feel a kind of odd silence with these words. So I thought maybe you could touch on a couple of those issues as well.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Yeah.
You're welcome to talk.
Thank you all for coming today to listen to my talk. First of all, I want to thank everybody in Smithsonian National Portrait Gallery to put together such a wonderful show. Especially, I want to thank Wendy because she is my main contact. Last year, I was in China, so she emailed me back and forth in terms of selection of my work and images for the publicity. Also, have to fill out the paperwork and the hiring instructions, everything. But I'm glad with the result. The installation is beautiful, and they did a great job. And also, I'm very honored to be showing with other Asian American artists as well. Today, I'm going to talk about all the pieces in the gallery and how each piece related to my life from Beijing to American is like my artistic journey from Beijing to Atlanta to California and to my current home in Lawrence, Kansas. I will start with this piece. This piece represents my life from Beijing to America. So it's a triptych piece. They are symbolic portraits of me and my two sisters. My older sister, she's in the middle. She's a little bit larger. Me and my twin sister on each side. Because my older sister came here in late 80s, and she made her home in Atlanta and become American citizen. In 1996, she helped me and my twin sister came to America. So she's like a main supporting figure for me. So that's why she's in the center. But we all have long hair. So I wanted to use this embodied image of long black straight hair to symbolize our identity as individuals and as siblings. And I also wanted to talk about my life experience back in Beijing. I was born in northeast China, industrial city called Shenyang. Even though I was born there, but I was raised in an artistic family. Both my parents are art professors, and my two sisters also are painters. So I lived in art college campus until age of 15. My twin sister and I won the national competition to attend the attached high school to the Central Academy of Fine Arts in Beijing, which is the best art school in China. So from there, I started my professional training. My life in Beijing was interesting because my twin sister and I first time left hometown and left my parents at a young age. And we kind of become independent in some way, but still live together in the dorm. The school I went was boarding school. So that was interesting experience. I will give you a story. My twin sister and I always lived together and went to same elementary school, high school, and we like to eat together at the dining room. And because she's left-handed, I'm right-handed. All the students like to watch us while we were eating. It's like one person using two hands at the same time. So you'll see me on the left and she's on the right. And that's the interesting part, but there's also political experience. In the college was pretty tough. We also attended the Tiananmen Square in 1989. And you know, the statue of, they call the Statue of Freedom, more like a Statue of Liberty in New York. The students from the sculpture department built that sculpture. We went to the parade and marched with the sculpture to the square. So most people remembered the tanks and shootings and soldiers from that incident. But my most memory was the first week after the shooting, because there was a martial law. Nobody allowed to go to the street, and nobody go to work. They have to remain indoors until the announcement from the government. So we were living in the boarding school. Nobody came here to cook. So I had to sneak out, make sure no tanks, no soldiers on the street. And we'll run to a nearby convenience store, which run by the local resident, and give us some free food. Then we'll run back. So that was incredible memories. And after that, my older sister came to America, and she made her home in Atlanta. In 1996, she helped me with my twin sister, came to America. So this piece is like a dedication for our connection as siblings. And this is more like a personal mixture between East and West. I also like to mention about the visual connection between East and West. The composition is triptych. It refers to the European iconic image of three Graces from Renaissance period, and also has to do with the ranking position from Chinese cultural and political aspects. For example, in China, empire always in the center, and intellectual advisor on the right, and the military advisor on the left. So I consider myself as a military advisor because compared to my twin sister, I'm more tough and like to fight whenever she's in trouble, so I want to protect her. And in addition, I think I also adopted the Chinese art influence in all the pieces in the gallery, especially this one, because the drawings are presented as scrolls. These exaggerate the length of the piece, also the flow of the long hair. And I also decided to use charcoal because charcoal can make very fine details, and the darkness, also the illumination. And the scale, I wanted to mention that too. I want to use larger than life size scale to create a two-dimensional piece, somehow give you a three-dimensional effect. I think by doing large scale really helped me to achieve that aspect. Now I wanted to talk about this piece. This piece called My Life Strands, so represents my life in California. This is my own self-portrait. After I spent 6 months in Atlanta, I moved to California. The reason is I got married and went to graduate school. I met my husband in China when he was an exchange student to study Chinese. But at that time, we were just remain as friends. We didn't make any commitment because I knew I was planning to go to America, but I didn't know whether I like American or not. So I had a plan. I said, if I got a visa, maybe it was my fate to go to America. If not, I was still planning to apply for graduate school in Beijing. So somehow I'm here. I guess that was my fate. Then when I was in California, I visited him. He just started graduate school, and I kind of like UC Davis College town because that was similar to the environment I used to grow in China. And because we also have the same dream, we wanted to finish graduate school and be able to find a teaching job. So that's kind of how we find it together and decided to get married. But that time, the graduate school was an interesting experience, but was a little bit tough for me because that time I was struggling with my English. So my big challenge was my English. So I always mixed up with the English words. Like first time I met his parents, I made a mistake between snake and snack. During the dinner time, my husband has to go to Stanford for a conference, so he left me there with his parents. And I was a little bit panicked because my English wasn't very good. I think during the dinner time, I was kind of hungry. I asked him if there's something I can eat, but I said, do you have some snakes I can eat? And they all make a big pause and look at me and say, I heard you Chinese can eat all kinds of animals, but we don't have snakes at home. I said, that's not what I mean. I mean something, not real food, but small, and then I can eat. I don't feel hungry. They say, oh, snacks. So that's something funny. And when I was in graduate school there, my classmates, they were very helpful with my English, and I kept good relationship with my peers and my professors. And we would like to go out for receptions or something. One day, I went to a gallery with one of the classmates. We got there earlier. So we spent some time there, and then she asked me, her name is Janet. I said, where the other graduate students? How come they haven't come back yet? And she said, I don't know, but I really have to go. Otherwise, I will be in the doghouse. I said, what's that mean? She said, I don't have time to explain. So when they show up, you just tell them. I said, okay. Then like 10 minutes later, everybody show up. And they asked me, Hong, where's Janet? I said, she just left. She went to the dog room. So sometimes I repeat words. I feel like I sounded right, but somehow didn't really exact what that. But they all got it, what I mean, yeah. And so this piece is my own life. Like after I left Atlanta and separated from my twin sister for the first time, I started my own life in California. And this piece also examines a woman's life cycle. Like from the top is a healthy hair, then gradually to the bottom becomes turns and twists of midlife. That's where I am now, here. Just turned 40. So I did a similar piece to this one a few years ago. It was a little bit much longer and bigger scale. That piece was 5 feet wide and 30 feet long, all the way across to the floor. That one was symbolize a woman's complete life cycle. From top is like healthy, braided hair, and in the middle is like a midlife. And then at the bottom started losing up, eventually become the color of paper. So that one is now in Sydney, Australia. It's part of called the White Rabbit collection on contemporary Chinese art. And then I will talk about the last piece. This piece called Cyclone. It represents my life in Lawrence, Kansas. I made my home there. After graduating from UC Davis in 2004, my husband got a teaching job offer at University of Kansas. That's why I joined him. And I have never seen or know tornado until I moved there. So Lawrence is also a college town. It's very similar to UC Davis. The only difference is the weather. So this tornado piece really represents part of my life in Kansas. So from distance, you see the image is a powerful of tornado, but once you get closer, you see the massive twist of long black hair that are noticeable. I kind of wanted to combine hair with Midwest environment to create this piece, and at the same time try to play the elements on reality and the illusion. So this piece looks more dynamic than the rest of the piece in the gallery because those pieces are more static. These pieces started to move. So when I moved to Lawrence, I have to start it all over again because in California, I entered to the art community as a student. I had several successful shows there and with important, well-known Chinese artists in the same show like Xu Bing and Wendy in Sacramento State. And I also went to Skowhegan Artist Residency in Maine when I was just finishing up my first year graduate school. And also got the Douglas Foundation MFA fellowship. The funding was funded by Robert Motherwell. So I kind of started, just made my name out in California. Then after moved to Lawrence, Kansas, the only difference at the starting point to the art world is different. In California, I was entered as a student, but in Lawrence, I entered to the local art world as an artist, professional artist. So I had a chance to teach at the University of Kansas Art Department for a year. Also, my work was purchased by the University Museum. But I don't mind teaching. Still, I prefer to do my own work. Now I become a full-time artist, spend most of my time in my studio, also spend the time with the family. And when I moved to Kansas, the first year, I had the privilege to receive the Paula Kressner Foundation grant. So I was still lucky enough to be able to keep painting after graduate school. Then the second year, my daughter was born. So everything changed, like it's kind of slowed down my making process, but somehow gave me another perspective to see the life and world differently. Because when you were pretty busy, you forgot the pace. Once you have slowed down a little bit, you can more appreciate what you have and what you don't have. So during that time, the first year, my daughter was born, I did some smaller pieces dealing with graphite, and I didn't use charcoal or oil paint because I was afraid my daughter will somehow got into it. But the second year, when she was just turned 2, I started teaching. And now I just quit teaching and become full-time artist. So now I call my daughter as a little tornado. But the real tornado piece is now landed in DC. So I wanted to conclude my talk about what I'm going to do next. My current project is a new project that I'm going to show next January in local art center. The project called Haywire. So it has to do with my life, both in China and in urban China and rural Kansas. So the project is site-specific, only designed for the gallery space. And the whole series includes 2 large horizontal, not vertical, horizontal composition of hair drawings, also 3 oil paintings. One is a singular, they're all singular composition, but more like a close-up view of 5 by 5 each. One is a hair, one is a hay, one is a wire. But the horizontal charcoal drawing is more like a hair from distance. But from distance, looks like the prairie grass of Kansas landscape. It's more like the flow of the open space. But once you get closer, you see the image is a hair. But at the ends, instead of using the scrolls, I was using the round hay bales attached with the piece. So they more looks like scrolls in some aspect. And the other piece was 2 real hay bales. So the one attached to the wall with the horizontal piece, I will make a hollow one because the real hay bales weighted like 1,000 pounds. It's too dangerous to attach the wall and lift up 2 feet high. So that piece, I'm gonna make a hollow one, but looks real. And the other piece is like 2 real hay bales sit on the floor against the wall and rolled it up with around 5 to 6 feet of drawing of hair. It's like unroll something and with the hay bales. And then the other room gonna be an installation piece dealing with electrical wires that attach to the telephone poles at the corner of the room. So when you walk into the room, you feel this welcoming, like a semi-controlled environment, but somehow works. That represents the urban aspect, what's going on in China, the development of the electric wires that's overwhelming, hanging everywhere. So that's my current project. Because last year I spent the whole year with my family, and my husband got a Fulbright research grant to China. My daughter and I we were able to join him. So that reflects my inspiration for the current piece. But after spending a year in China, coming back to United States, I feel more like I'm American now. Even though I was born and raised in China and have education from both countries, I still feel I have a better life and freedom living in America. And I feel very confident about who I am, and people whom I met here are very nice and supportive. So I'm very fortunate to be able to live here and continue to do my art. I think my work really speaks for that. And let's say I will talk about a little bit on the making process. Even though my work is very time-consuming, like each piece, that scale usually will take me 2 months. So the triptych together will take about 6 months to finish. I kind of enjoy the making process because I feel very meditative. And I think my main focus is I wanted to make something that's dealing with art form, such as the composition, the scale, the color choice, and the medium choice. I think by doing so, I believe that my work can reach to a broader audience and have more universal theme. Even though people come to my work They might not know China or have any knowledge about Chinese art, but they can still appreciate in different levels. I think that's my goal. Thank you for coming, and it's nice to meet you and share my experience with you. I just wanted to say a little bit things that before I leave, I have to catch the flight. I can stay here till 3:30, so you're welcome to ask me questions. Thank you. This piece